Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today I want to do a wire tuck. So, got these handy dandy headlights. I'm in the middle of a ABS delete, so I got a new master cylinder, proportioning valves. The ABS ECU is tucked underneath right there, underneath the intake manifold. Everything's kind of tucked down there with some zip ties. Now, I have my harness over here as I'm putting everything back together. And I'm not all that positive, but I think I might be able to get away with throwing the wires underneath, maybe taking a few things back. I have the adapters from FIC, and I think if I was to get rid of this wire protection, cut back a little bit to about like right here, where everything kind of starts streaming apart, I might be able to get away with it. But what I want to do is just mock it up first underneath, see if there's something that I can do to kind of get things to be where I want them to be. So, because according to this mock-up that I have right now, if I was to go underneath this little loop, because the coolant lines that are supposed to go to the throttle body, I have an aftermarket throttle body, so I have them looped. I think I might be able to throw this harness through this loop and have it go underneath the intake manifold like that. These guys I can throw for the map sensor over there, and then these guys over here for the throttle position sensor and the idle air control valve. I should be able to have enough room to be able to throw them and put them in places. Come with me on this journey and let's see how this mock-up goes. So while on this journey, I am also just getting done replacing my water pump. So I had to drain the coolant, so I'm able to take off my heater hose and this little loop that I have for the throttle body coolant lines. So as this is underneath, it looks like I will be able to have everything else long enough to be able to run everything, minus injectors 2 and 3. 4 makes it all the way over here. 1 will obviously be able to get to that one, so that's this guy right here. This one will be able to make it, but 2 and 3 are not going to be able to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start de-looming the injectors, taking the injectors out of their little harnesses. I'm going to pull out the wire harness right here, and then the line that has the injectors in them, I'm going to kind of cut back, pull those injectors out, try to make them be on their own thing. So I have some wire protection covers, or what are they called? I have protective wire wrap. I will be able to, throw those back together. So I'm gonna pull that back out. I'm gonna start cutting back, and I'm gonna try to be as detailed as possible as what I am doing. Here we go. So this is the protective wiring, or the protective wire wrap that is here. See how these guys are like taped down? So I'm gonna trim this back, get rid of this protective wire wrap, or at least try to get the injectors out, because the harnesses are just taped. There's just tape, at least on mine, and then it's just a bundle of wires. So I'm going to try to be as gentle as possible, unwrapping everything, making sure that I'm not nicking any wires. My battery's also disconnected. That's another thing to note, because again, I'm going through the ABS stuff, so my battery's disconnected, and I'm not trying to get shocked. So electrical safety first and foremost. Just start trimming backwards, and I'll try to just go through the process with you. So I have these types of cutters right here. I'm gonna cut this guy and this guy. Or you know what, I might just be able to just peel the tape back. So it's just tape for the most part, so I should be able to just take it off, right? Thanks a lot, Mitsubishi. Gonna make a little hole right there. Well, I shouldn't say hole. Making some space for my wire cutters to go through for me to be able to cut this tape off. So now I have more room with injector 2. And then I will trim this guy right here, where injector 4 should be. See if I can, I'm just trying to be gentle. If I can start it and I start getting weirded out, I can always just, trim by hand, pull the tape back. So it really looks like it's just high temp tape that's holding this together. And I mean, it's a 2005 17-year-old car. It's seen some heat cycles. Okay, so there's a little more tape right there. Make some space. I don't know if you guys can see that, but just kind of putting some pressure, pushing it together, and then getting in there to be able to make a cut to then be able to pull it apart. So then I'm getting into this, and this is where the fun part is. Injector 1's up here. All these guys should reach. I'm hoping that the only ones I have to extend are maybe injector 2. Hoping, but we'll find out if how I want to route it. So this stuff is just, more tape. I have electrical tape, so what I'll do is if I find something that I need to redo, I can always just put some electrical tape on it and go on about my day. So I've made my cut into this part of the harness to where I should be able to remove this piece. I'll set that off to the side, not in the trash. So now I have more wires and I have more tape. And the further up you go, there's going to be more tape. So I am going to start trimming this back all the way to where injector 1 is. Actually, no, because this one actually fit just fine along with all of these guys. So what I actually want to do is leave this one here, leave this braid here because it's already there. I'm going to start trimming back from this part. And then what I should be able to do is trim this back, give injector 3 some more room to be able to come back up and wrap around the intake manifold. Injector 2 may be the only one that I'll have to mess with. Or I may just have it go 1, 2, 3 over the top to where it's just the least invasive possible. I may go that route. So I think I just found out what I was going to do. So I want to try to figure out how to get this guy off, pull these apart, make a little cut in the tape, and then kind of just start moving the tape back, pulling back on it, seeing where some ends are. And see, I got some really crusty stuff in here, so that's not cool. I'm going to pull that off right there. It's just 17-year-old electrical. Yeah, I got some, looks like I got some good stuff up in there. Oh, you know what? I'll pull this all off. It's not really looking all that great. I'll rewrap it. I'll rewrap this with some new electrical tape. So yeah, this stuff's just coming apart, so why not? We're here. I'm going for least invasive. All right, I can do that. All right, so then this starts going into this little loom over here. So what I'm going to do is just cut it right here. All right, so I have my separate harnesses. I have my injectors that will go back over here. This is injector 1. And this is number 3. So I'll keep that into its own thing. And I should be able to keep these guys there. 2 I want to have up here. And so now that they are separated, I can then go back through, tape this, and then throw more wire protector over it. But because of this weird stuff in here, I think it's just maybe some type of oil or something. But I'm going to take some electrical cleaner onto a paper towel, and I'm going to run it around the wires and see if I can get some of this stuff off. So I'll be right back. So I don't really know what that stuff was. Could be, old glue, could be a bunch of stuff. A little bit of electronic cleaner, and I was able to get it all off. Now, the idea then would be separating this harness and then going through with electric tape, starting right there as far in as possible, and then wrapping all the way up to right here to where everything's still kind of reachable, and I think we should have plenty of space. So I don't use my front O2 sensor, so I just want to let that be known too. Like I would go off the one in the rear, so I don't go off the front, I go off the one in the rear. So this one, I actually just need to put a dummy plug in it just to keep it from getting all dirty. Should probably clean that out. But I'll get that up to here. Any holes in these guys, you know, I'll go through and rewrap, because it looks like this one actually got like burnt. It was just hot. So I'll go through that, wrap that up to right here. And when you do it, you just want to make it tight, not too tight. So as an example, actually too much. Go through there. I want to have a good solid little base, and then I just want to roll this guy around. I also want to keep some nice tension on the wires, and then you'll have something like that. Just do it for the whole thing, and I'll be back with you guys shortly. There you go, new electrical tape. And then I got some wire wrap over here. I have 1/2 inch, I have 3/8, 1/4 inch. I think I'm gonna open up this 1/2 inch, open that up, put a layer around these guys right here. Now this guy goes around like that, and you just slowly put it on. Try to get that to come back a little bit. Take some measurements. Cool. I'd say that was honestly just about perfect size. So now what I can do is wrap some tape around the ends. Or I'd probably do tape around the ends and then zip tie it. And then this is like a brand new harness, but nowhere near being brand new. 3 little zip ties, one in the middle and one on the sides. You know, fairly tight, but not too tight. I mean, it can still move around, but it's not meant to be super tight. It's just meant to protect the wires from the heat and the elements. Now, these guys, what I want to do, if I can, clean these guys right here, see what goes on with them, and then I'm gonna individually wrap them after I'm done cleaning. And then what I'm gonna do, so I have them labeled, you know, hey, that's cylinder 3, this one's cylinder 2. Obviously cylinder 2 is a little bit longer. What I want to do is throw them up individually, throw them together, and then what I'll do is, after having them taped, what I'll do is I'll figure out where they can stop, and then I'll throw a little wire protection wrap from here on to a certain point, whereas then these adapters can go do whatever. So I'm going to clean them real fast and then see how the harness lines up with everything else. Cool, man. So I have these guys wrapped up. I'm going to see what I can do with them. Number 3, number 2. But I think if I'm to do it the way that I want to, flip this injector around, maybe and have it, you know, run over the top like that, maybe. And then I should be able to run that one all the way over there. Let me see, let me reroute everything, let me put everything under, see what I can get into. Okay. I have everything kind of rerouted for the most part. This thing's pretty done. All the wire harness stuff is underneath. I don't have any real impingements. Everything looks to be pretty decent, and up top, the only thing I really have are a couple of hoses and ground. It cleans it up quite a bit. This was, I mean, in all honesty, super cheap. I just had to get, you know, some wire cutters, some protective wire wrap, the electric tape, electronic cleaner, and some patience. This is with a Skunk 2 manifold. Your setup's going to be different than mine. I believe on some intake manifolds you're able to run the connectors in between the runners of the intake manifold. For those of us that are running a Skunk 2 manifold, we're not able to. I'm sure there are some others that are like that. I didn't have to cut anything, which was the whole point of this wire tuck. It was the least invasive. I was using the adapters, FIC 2150 injectors with their respective adapter pieces to them that added a little bit of length. And while I've been running these injectors, you know, it's been cluttered, man, on top of the intake manifold. It just does not look great. I don't like the look of it personally. There's a few more things that I'd like to do before I get this all tidied up. You know, different connectors and things like that. Long story short, I want to throw everything back together, and then I want to come back and show you guys what I have that is, you know, that would essentially be the finished product. So let me show you. Little update on the tuck. So I have the fuel pressure regulator line coming around underneath the intake manifold and wiring off into the reference for vacuum, and then for the fuel pulse dampener right there. I have that. Those just go down in between the runners, and then they go to a Y fitting, and then it comes up into the fuel pressure regulator. I would say for what I have going on with the car, this is by far my favorite thing to do. I got really tired of looking at a rat's nest above the intake manifold. It just really did not look all that great. It looked like a mess. I'm really glad I was able to, you know, get that all underneath the intake manifold. It only took me a couple hours, and I am really thankful that I had the FIC adapter pieces from the OEM harnesses, you know, to the FIC high-Z injectors. And those little adapter, you know, harnesses that they have, I mean, they're maybe like 3-4 inches, maybe. It's just enough. I didn't have to cut anything. I just made sure to wrap some tape around the points where the clips are on the OEM connectors, so just be sure of that. I appreciate you guys checking out the channel. I hope this wire tuck is something that is as informative, you know, and that it's information that you may be looking for to be able to do your own wire tuck. Have the confidence to be able to do it. Like and subscribe if you guys like what I got going on. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the wire tuck. Let me know if this was informative enough, if there's anything you may need to ask. I mean, ask away, man. Try to look at my comments, you know, as often as possible and try to answer as much as possible. Just let me know. Dream or do, it's up to you. Till next time.